Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today on another episode. Today, I have the pleasure of being accompanied by Miss Sean Pinkston. I have actually been looking forward to doing this interview for quite some time, so I'm a little excited. So I'm going to try to keep my composure so we can get through this episode. Thank you, Miss Pinkston, for joining me today. Yeah, feel free to just give a little bit of information about yourself and then we'll just go from there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jackie. I am equally excited. Yeah, we've been talking back and forth trying to get this thing going, and we are here. So I'm equally excited too. As you said, I'm Sean R. Pinkston. I do emphasize that R. There are a couple of other Sean Pinkstons in the real estate industry. So I do need you to know who I are. Get it? R.
I get
Anyway,
it. I get
been
it.
doing real estate for almost 18 years, commercial real estate for 7 years. And we'll get into more detail as far as why I've done that. But 5 boys, beautiful boys, 2 beautiful grand boys, married nearly 18 years, and my husband's gonna kill me. And I'm from Milwaukee, raised in Detroit, and I'm here in Chicago. So I say I got three loves, right? Tigers and bears and lions. Oh my, right. Anyway,
You've been
so I'm happy to
around.
be here and I'm looking forward to getting into this.
Okay, so right now you're in Chicago doing commercial real estate out there, and you said you've been doing it for 7 years. Congratulations. So, when it comes to commercial real estate, what sparked your interest to begin with?
Great question. And it's multifaceted, but I'll start with what actually just piqued my interest. I love a challenge. I love a challenge, and I saw real estate being done around me in the commercial world, not by people who look like us. And I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to get more into it. And I didn't realize it was going to be as challenging as it was. The actual challenge I saw was what commercial was all about, not the challenge to get into commercial. So
Hmm.
as I started to learn what it was about, I learned that there was a bigger challenge. It was actually getting into it, being exposed to it. And so I would join different organizations that had a commercial core to it. And I realized that everything wasn't being shared with me to get myself into it. I would ask questions, do whatever I could, like a lot of people that are coming to me now are doing, which is why I've chose to open some doors. But what sparked my intention more so was getting into understanding what the stats were, that there are less than 3% of women or minorities in this commercial field. And so all that did was just drive me even more. And then realizing there was a need in the communities that I was serving, but I did not know how to service them. So I needed to make that happen. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Yeah, which includes the reason why you and I had so many conversations in the past because just like you, I've had that same struggle where I've been around and I'm like I'm the only person in the room that looks like me and then I get in the room and I tell people ask, "Oh, how old are you?" And when they hear how old I am, they're like, "Oh, that is so cute." And then you're like, can we work together?" And just give you a little pat on the shoulder and go and talk to, somebody else. So,
Right.
it becomes a thing where you have to, and then from my own experience, you have to talk, you have to be outspoken, you have to be confident, because without that you get looked over, especially in a room full of other people that don't look like us, so they try to figure us out a little bit to just test the water,
Right.
which is a struggle for a lot of people. And then, as you stated before, getting into commercial real estate, you can read all the books, learn as much as you can, but that does absolutely nothing when it
Man,
comes to actually working the deal.
I'm
It
telling
might
you.
help, but at the end of the day, nothing beats actually being there, being in it, and doing it. I
Trying to tell
I
you, do
I
it.
I completely understand that completely. And then too, that's what drove your interest in commercial real estate. And then we talk about the hurdles and I say And a couple people could argue with me, but it's just like we walk into the room with stripes against us, to begin with, where
That's
you have to go past that judgment. And when it comes to you and being able to get in these rooms, what barriers do you feel you had to get past in order to have somebody look at you and you're like, I know what I'm doing, I've been here before, trust me, compared to someone else?
great question. And I'm still dealing with those barriers and challenges. Please don't get it twisted. What it started out being was, again, not having people that look like us in the room. You already addressed that. But at the same time, once you're in the room, being looked over, having those conversations where you overhear the back and forth of the deals and the transaction. As soon as you step over, now we want to talk about different things, and we're not. So what were we talking about? I'm jumping right into it. So I heard you mentioning the so and so. I heard you mentioning that. Yeah, do you do commercial? Yes, that's why I'm here. Oh, who are you with? Okay, now you want to do my bio. You know what? I already got that in hand and it's on your table. I already put it right. You got to come prepared, right? You got to come a step in advance, a step ahead. So if you got that little bio, that little palm card, bring that with you because you're going to be asked and tested, right?
Hmm.
What makes people say, what makes people choose you? You're stepping out and you're showing what it is that you're about. You're showing it in your activity. You're showing it in your engagement, your interest level. And you're basically, I said it 3 times, you're showing up. You have to show up. They need to
On
see you
time.
on time, not CP time.
CPT. CPT cannot exist here.
There's no meridian for CPT. Okay. We just got what we got. So you
Hmm.
have to show up, be in those places and those spaces and let it be known that this is what you're doing and share what it is that you're doing. I had someone tell me, a mentor tell me a long time ago, you are doing so many things, but nobody knows. They don't know what you're doing if you don't share, but it feels like bragging. It is bragging. I'm just not real great at bragging. And so I'm looking inconsistent when I'm sharing what I'm doing because it feels so different to do so. And I've gotten better with it over time, but don't be afraid to get yourself out there, share yourself, let it be known what it is that you do and share your experiences, right? Your wins and your losses, because you learn from those as well.
Which is absolutely correct, because I could tell you from experience and being out here, I've asked a lot of people a lot of questions and rarely run into people in commercial real estate out here that look like me. And then the few that I do, I ask them, so what are you doing? What is making you succeed in this industry? What do your clientels look like? Etc. Your clientele, not with the S at the end, sorry. But yeah,
Right.
what does your clientele look like and all that? And then, they share as much information as they possibly can with me. And one gentleman said, you have to run your mouth. You have to let them know that you know exactly what you're talking about and you're not looking for a handout. And then on top of knowing what you're talking about, you have to know a little bit more than the average person, because there is a lot expected of you, not because of anything else, but because of appearance. Because
Absolutely.
people want to naturally do business with people that look like them. And some people say they're in it for the deal, which I totally understand. There's people out there that are in it for that, but you still have to struggle. And it could be an insecurity thing too, because you're like, I know this is, like, are they judging me because of this? Are they judging me because of that? Are they really taking me serious? Are these questions they're asking me because they really want to know? Or are these pop quizzes to figure out
Right.
how much I know?
Yep.
So you go into a room with those, and then, you get sweaty and stuff and all that, and everything
Nervous.
else, and
Yeah.
nervous, yes.
Yeah.
And then too, so you also said you don't want to brag, but I will allow you the opportunity right now to brag, because we know you got commas on commas on commas at the end of your name for
Listen.
all of your accomplishments. So do tell.
It's all a blessing. It's all a blessing. I mean, without taking up all our time that we have to talk about the nuggets, I mean, I've got a couple of deals going on right now. I've got a couple of buyers, some referrals from a lot of organizations that I'm a part of. I'm on a lot of different boards in the community. CCIM is one of those, which is the highest level of a designation in commercial real estate that you can get.
Bravo, bravo.
Right. And for those who don't know what that is, that's a certified commercial investment manager. And you literally get a pin when you achieve certain goals of productivity and things like that. Do I have my pen? I do not have my pen. Have I decided to go for my pen? I have not decided to go for my pen. And there's a reason for that. And it's twofold. One, there is a large criteria available for what's required to get that pin. Some say it's a bit hefty, and it is. It's about $30 million in production. Is that needed to still get what you need to get and where you need to get to in commercial real estate? Well, that's for each individual person to decide among their own. I definitely want to make that happen. And I want to be an encouragement to anyone else to be a part of organizations such as CCIM, but I'm on the board to ensure that representation is there. One. Number two, once representation is there, then you can have the conversations that are had in the culture that we're in the communities that we're in, and bring that to the table. Otherwise, it will not surface. And one of those conversations that has come up were the requirements to actually receive that pin. So we're working on that. We're having some conversations with that. It's all the way to the national level. They're working on that and having some conversations about that. I am taking the courses. I am doing that. There are 4 core courses to take to get that pin. I am doing those courses. I encourage you to do that if you do nothing else. There's a scholarship for it, and I'll share all that with Jackie later to put in her notes. But I definitely want any one of you that wants to get into commercial, look into those courses or some type of entry-level courses to get into commercial real estate. I'm on NARAB, Dearborn's board for Women's Council. I love to just bring the information and bring the resources, and the mentorship program that's coming up is going to knock you off your feet.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
And then you're talking, and then I keep hearing that quote from Iyanla Vanzant, the one, you have to do the work. Well, she said, do the work, or you have to do the work. You don't know Iyanla from, you don't watch.
I know Iyanla. Oh, I know Iyanla. I have to get it all together, but come on.
You have to do the work. So you've done the work, and you've accomplished a lot. And then you're out there with the CCIM national headquarters, I believe.
Illinois. We're the only network chapter that is in the same city with national. So national is here in Chicago, but I'm on the Illinois board.
Okay. Now, okay. That explains that right there. And then, so before, I do have another question to follow, but I do want to know, when it comes to commercial real estate, what would you say was one of your most challenging deals thus far? In dealing with, any issue, and how did you overcome that?
I got one right on top of mine. That's right on time. So it was a $2 million deal. And the main challenge was not even the deal itself. It was the condescending agent on the other end. Right. And we kind of just talked about that, right? Are you getting pop quizzed, or are you really getting engaged? I was getting pop quizzed, right? My buyers were getting pop quizzed, right? Because they look like me also, right? Because it's not common in their circles to see the agent coming with buyers that's ready to spend a couple of $1 million on a property. And long story short, the conversations going back and forth were not qualifying conversations for a transaction. They were qualifying conversations on that agent's end for seeing if I'm someone that they wanted to work with. So these weren't even conversations or questions from their sellers. It was from the agent. And so long story short, my buyers ended up not even getting that deal. And this is what's happening all over. I'm actually in an accountability group that you are also in, Jackie Swag. And we talk to each other from around the country, and we're having the same issues in dealing with practitioners on the other end. And it's really all about, sometimes it gives your client an unfair shot because of you being the front person, if you will. So how I overcame that challenge, though, I gave my buyers another outlet, some other resources where we could actually take, I'm going to say our money, right? Where we could take our resources ourselves and purchase somewhere else where the validity is in the qualifying purchase, not in the person representing the purchaser, right? It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with that. If I'm qualified to get this job done and I'm bringing a buyer, let's do a deal. So I encourage anyone to just don't let that get you down. Don't, because we have people before us that, if they let something like this stop, then we wouldn't be here right now having this conversation. So don't let it get you down. Stay encouraged, stay positive, and most importantly, encourage your buyers or your clients so that they can continue the mission of what they're set out to do.
Exactly. So it's just one of those things where you just have to stay the course, because when one door closes, no matter what that door is, another one is going to open, and you have to be persistent along the way, because his no was not for them not being qualified, for not having the money. It was just, I don't want to work with you based on XYZ, which is totally unfair, but it's just like, at the end of the day, it's just like, watch this. Since you don't think I'm qualified, CCIM think I'm qualified.
Come on now, state W council think I'm qualified, national this, right? And so you got to believe in yourself. No one else can create that formula for you.
Exactly. And, there's a level of confidence that has to come with that, a level of knowledge that has to come with that, because you can't look for a handout. You have to do the work to get the job done, especially, and being in commercial real estate is hard enough already. So it's just like make sure you do what's required of you. And then too, so you're not just a commercial agent, you're an investor as well.
Absolutely. My husband and I have been investing my husband for over 20 years with his dad, but for over 15 years, he and I have been buying, fixing, and flipping properties in the city of Chicago.
And then how's it been with doing that as far as the investment portion of your portfolio?
Yeah, it's pretty lucrative actually. We're doing okay over here, if I do say so myself. We're working on our next project in our community that we live in, which is Ashburn on the south side of Chicago. And we were actually the first ones to actually purchase a property here because we were doing a lot of the talking, right? We see what needs to be done. We're talking and we're talking. And so we reached out to the alderman, had a great relationship with our alderman. And we're like, hey, we want to purchase this property over here. This is what we want to do. And instead of talking about it, we actually did it, hoping that that would spark the next generation of people to do the same thing. And we've been going at it ever since. We bought our first one 12 years ago. We steadily moving strong. We're about to pop this one off, and we're actually tearing the roof off this one this time and going up with it and doing something different, right? Just continue to bring the knowledge to the community and the efforts and the activity and showing them it's not just about a conversation, it's what we can do. And what we're doing ultimately is we're building the equity and the stakeholder in our own community. And that's what you have to do. You have to build it. And so we're doing pretty well with that. The city of Chicago has actually even reached out to us to have us participate with programs because they see what we're doing and they want us to be the forefront in programs where there are dilapidated properties that they need fixed and flipped and renovated and whatever have you. They reach out to us, hey, you got room for any more? Like when you have that start happening to you, you know you're doing something right. You know you're doing
Yes.
something right.
Absolutely, which pretty much leads me into my next question too, when it comes to access to capital and access to assistance when it comes to investing. So you pretty much been on the ball, and been doing things right to where people are coming to you. Now, what would it? And then we're not talking about from like a diversity standpoint, but from a professional standpoint. What would you say it takes to make that work? What do you have to do behind the scenes before you purchase property, and how to gain capital in order to do so?
Great question. If the pandemic hasn't taught us anything, the first thing I would say would be structure your company appropriately,
Because real
right?
estate is a company,
It's a
it's a
business,
business.
right? Whatever you're doing is a business, right? So protect your name, protect your assets, get incorporated the right way. Talk to your CPA about what that right way looks like, whether it's LLC, S Corp, C Corp, whatever that's going to look like for you. Get yourself appropriated correctly. Secondly, start building those relationships with organizations that lend in the purpose in which you're out there doing. Every bank is not for you. Some banks, if their guidelines are not to invest in specific communities or for specific asset types, that might not be the bank that you want to go to, even though you may get approved, because it might not be a long haul process that will actually come to fruition for you, because that's not the asset type or class or community that they're investing in. So know what it is that the bank invests in and go to that bank for securing that. There are also hard money loans out there as well. Caveat, interest rates are extremely high. So it's not for a long-term project. So if you don't have the crew to get it done quickly or the aptitude to get it done quickly, hard money might not be your route. But if it's your only route, make it do what it does, right? Make it do what it does. It's
Do the
out there.
work. Yeah,
Do the
you got
work.
you
Do
gotta
the work.
work. Yeah.
Absolutely. So building those relationships is key. And then here in the city of Chicago, we have a lot of organizations that are just on the ball, and I know you're in California, but we all have those same type of centrifugal organizations that are looking for people that are out there willing and with the capability to rehab properties, whether it's residential or commercial. Be sure you get in touch with those. And they're usually connected to your city or your municipality.
Okay, and those are a lot of good resources, and you gave a lot of information there. So
Yeah.
that is all legit. So to backtrack a little bit, I'm a part of a group on Facebook, and a lot of them, I've actually seen quite a few times where you have residential agents who want to make this switch from residential to commercial, like you did, and they don't know where to start. Did I ask you yet where you started with your resources, or you just told me you just learned? Did you tell me how?
Just for real estate, period.
They want to switch from residential to commercial, but don't know where to start in order to
Got you.
get there.
Well, this is the right place. You come to the right place, and that's the right question. So again, we will be having a mentorship program. And there are quite a few out there as well, but we will be having a mentorship program with CCIM launching in the fall for anyone who wants to get into commercial from
And this
entry
is
level.
not just
Chicago.
CCI. No, okay, this is open to everybody.
This will be open to any and everyone because we will be holding it virtually as well. So anyone
Mhm.
should be able to participate in it that wants to get into commercial real estate.
Mhm.
It's from entry level, or if you even want to learn about another asset class. So we will be sharing that information out. Matter of fact, this is August 2nd in a couple of weeks, and everyone will have that link to actually get onto the website, go on and log in. And well, you don't have to log in, but go ahead and click on that link, get that application, and you'll be good to go. We have a lot of mentors already on the wait list, right? Mentees. We're looking for mentors to actually support that. Otherwise, we'll have a wait list because we'll only have to do a cohort of about 10 to 15. We've got way more mentees already signed up. So if we don't have enough mentors to get them in, it'll be the next cohort. So if you're a mentor, you got some qualifications, you're CCIM, or if you're not CCIM, but you've been doing real estate, go ahead and send me an email. We'll put you on that list, get you qualified so we can get more of these mentees rolled in.
Yeah, so we're calling all mentors to contact Miss Pinkston. Yes, and then I am going to include her information in the description of this video for you to reach out to her if you're or me, either or. I know how to get in contact with her if you can't, in order to get into the mentee and mentorship program for through CCIM. And then we know that you're a busy lady, so I'm not going to hold you too long. But before we disconnect, is there any information that you wanted to leave the people with?
Well, you know what? Y'all following the right person. Jacqueline Harris, I mean, she came in when we met. I mean, she's been sticking like glue ever since and saying what she's going to do and literally doing it. Those are the kind of people you want to stay connected to and attached to. So you're in the right place for whatever the reason is that you're here for. So definitely keep following this young lady. She's going places.
I appreciate it. Follow, subscribe.
Share, follow, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff.
All of it, all of it. And then I see your shirt. Give a shout out to dubcaster.net. Let them know what you do.
Dubcaster.net. It's a podcast where any and all things happen. And I'm a creative and I'm also a giver. And so what my podcast does is shares podcasts like this one. So once hers is done and she shares it, it's also going to be shared on dubcaster.net. So I share information and resources and share other people's podcasts to bring the resources to you.
Thank you very much. So that is the end of this video today. I would like to thank you once again for joining me, and we're going to be doing this again soon. Me and Miss Pinkston are definitely going to have we have more videos lined up for you guys. So make sure you stay subscribed, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, take it. So it's fun. We got to do it again.
Absolutely.